Welcome to the Best Music Podcast with Dan Spencer, where we talk about music and the methods for making music with top performers in the music industry. This week's featured guest is Ricky Duran. Now, Ricky has garnered international attention with his soulful vocals, fiery and, may I say, tasteful guitar playing, and compelling performances on NBC's The Voice. The season 17 runner-up has released a single charting at number 1 on iTunes and has been performing at sold-out shows, proving himself to be more than a fleeting show success. He's retained fans and still amassing more. He is a irrefutable talent, and I stand by that statement, and an electrifying entertainer making music for the soul. His new single, Star, is out now everywhere you get your music, and his new single, Waiting for You, drops on September 17th. You can find him everywhere at Ricky Duran. That's RickYDuran. Ricky, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. That was, by the way, that was one of the best introductions I've ever had. So.
Hey, man, I'm just reading what you did. That's all it is. Well, Ricky, before we get started, I just really want to take a moment and acknowledge your musical talent and fire on a level, because I sat down and I was listening to your debut album, or the first album I could find on Apple Music for you. I think you released in 2018, and whole album starts off with a 30-second guitar solo, and I'm there in the car with my girlfriend going, yo, I don't think you understand the daring artistic choice that is happening right now, like what you're hearing. But this is crazy for a guy who's in the pop world, who's been on The Voice, that you started off with a 30-second guitar solo. And then I'm going, well, whoever's playing guitar right now is a really good player. Like, I don't know if this is one of the guys on the session or what's going on. And then we start listening to some more of your tracks. And then there's these tracks where it's just you and the guitar by yourself. And I'm like, okay, something's going on here, because it's like I'm hearing consistency in the artistic choices of the guitar. You do it, and it's not like simple guitar playing either. You're doing like slap stuff, percussive guitar playing, in addition to like seventh chords, R&B harmony, jazz harmony. And on top of all that, you've got the lead stuff hammered down. Ricky, I don't know what to do with you, dude. So much talent in one man. I mean, that's just for an intro, and everyone's now tired of hearing me talk, so I think maybe we should let you talk. Do you have anything to say to that, Ricky?
Yeah,
30-second guitar solo to start off your debut album.
That album that I think you are talking about, when I was in college at the time. I was very young, and I don't think I really found my voice for that album. I think that I found it, as of recent, maybe like 5 years ago. But I'm proud of the songs that are on that record, and especially the guitar playing. I think the guitar playing is top notch. I would, if I could go back in time, I would probably recut the vocals. But that's so funny you said that, though. But yeah, guitar is basically how I fell in love with music in the first place. My dad was a musician. So he moved here from Guatemala and put a guitar in my hand at the age of 6, and showed me Santana, showed me Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jimi Hendrix, and I never looked back. That was it.
So when you say you'd want to go back and recut the vocals, is that because of late, you really are at the, I don't know, I wouldn't say the top of your game, because I don't want to box you into not having room to grow from where you're at, but you're performing at a very high level with your vocal styling, with how you approach singing, how you start phrases, end phrases, the melismas you use, the artistic choices there. That's very, very polished, which you can hear if anyone, you can go on YouTube and you just type in Ricky Duran and check out his first performance on The Voice, where all 4 judges turned around for him. Next level. But you really have this stylizing down. Is that what you would want to go back and recut?
Yeah, it's I don't really know how to describe it, but I just kind of came into myself, or like I've just found my voice. I feel like shortly before I was on the show, so like I don't know, maybe 5 years ago. And I guess I'd correlate it to, I live in Austin, Texas, and I moved down here and I've been playing, 4 nights a week out here at the bars.
Whoa.
So I think that you know, definitely helped in that regard.
Wow. So that playing 4 nights a week, you started doing that before you went on The Voice, or that's been since The Voice?
Before actually,
Okay.
that's how I got my opportunity to audition. I had one of the shows that I played. The guy who hired me, he was like, "Oh, my friend's a producer on the show on The Voice. Would you like to do a private audition out here in Austin?" And I was like, "Why not?" So I didn't really seek it out, but I'm happy that it came my way.
That's amazing. So you were really playing 4 nights a week in 2020, 2018, 2019 even. It's not like playing 4 nights a week was in the 70s or 60s. Like you have to put the work in to find those gigs. That's a lot of hustle going into making that happen for yourself. So can you talk a little bit maybe about the entrepreneurial mindset or the business mindset that you bring to music?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I think on a business perspective. I think that I'm always it's just about the music for me. So I'm from Worcester, Massachusetts, and I moved down to Austin, Texas, and I really had nothing going for me. I was just like, I want to go to a music city. I want to pursue this, and I'm getting older, so why not try this out? So I moved down, and I just, like you said, I was hustling all the time. Like the first day I got here, I went down on the Strip, and I Sixth Street, which is the main, street down here, and I talked to one of the business owners there, and she gave me a shot on the following Sunday, which was in a few days. I guess someone called out, so I was like, all right, I'll come in. And she heard me, and the first time she heard me, she took me up and down the street, introducing me to all these bar owners, and was like, "Yo, you got to hire this guy." So it was, it is a hustle, man, but it was fun.
That's really incredible that you had that opportunity. Now, a lot of times it's very important to look at how people get that first gig. So for that first gig, did you offer to play for free? Did you offer to play for like drinks and dinner? What did you put on the table for them to give you a shot?
I probably would have played for free, but they
Yeah.
paid me.
Oh, they pay. Oh, well, that's
They
nice.
offered.
Oh, that's great.
Um, yeah.
So important lessons for anyone out there who is looking at the success of Ricky and going, "Well, how can I do that?" Well, Ricky got out there and Ricky hustled. And Ricky played 4 gigs a night for years.
For years. Yeah.
4 years.
Yeah. It didn't happen overnight, man.
Indeed. So, Ricky, what's a piece of music or song you've heard in the past couple days or the past week or so that really stood out to you?
Hmm. Uh, I've kind of been stuck on. I don't know if you're familiar with Donny Hathaway.
Actually, I'm not.
I've been really stuck on him lately, and I actually did a cover of his song called "A Song for You." I did it at this. It's Austin's artist spotlight down here. They have a studio and they video it, and I don't know that song, man. It's really nice because it's like a singer songwriter thing, but Donny Hathaway, the way that he sings, man, it's like honestly, I would compare him to Stevie Wonder. It's incredible. So for anybody who hasn't heard of Donny Hathaway, go check that out and check out my cover. That's on Instagram.
So, this song that you were listening to, what drew you to it? Was it the way it made you feel? Was it particular stylings? Like you say, you're drawn to the vocal quality or the vocal choices because it's something like Stevie Wonder. How did the song make you feel? What was so special about it for you?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, man. It's a little bit of art, like musicality, but more than that, I think it's the song itself and the lyrics and the delivery
Mm,
of the song. And I don't know. I feel like for some reason, I really um, can relate to it.
hmm.
Uh, I feel like I've definitely, this is one of the songs that I've sent to my friends, and I'm like, hey, you got to listen to this. So you got to check it out, man. A song
Oh,
for
I'm
you,
going
Donny
to.
Hathaway.
Consider me checking it out right after this podcast.
Awesome.
So, Ricky, I've got a couple questions for you, if you don't mind, about your time on The Voice, and then let's talk a little bit about what you're doing now.
Sure.
So, my question for you is, for anyone who's watched the Voice TV show, sometimes you get these little candid shots of performers when you guys are in that sort of decked out green room before you head on stage. What are you thinking about when you're in that? So after after they've got their little blurb from you, all the producers are gone, they're talking to the next person. You're there by yourself. There's like however many minutes before you're going to go on and you're going to perform, this is a big deal. What are you thinking about? What are you doing in this moment?
Man, honestly, I'm just thinking about putting on the best performance that I can, to be honest with you. It was definitely nerve wracking, coming from, like I said, I was playing at the bars here, but it's a whole different stage when, national television, and it was an amazing opportunity, man. I don't know, man. It was wild. What I was thinking about before I take the stage is basically there was a lot of nerves going on, but it's just all about putting on the best performance. And I was trying to gather myself before every performance and come out there with confidence and really, deliver my song and make it believable. That's one of the things that Blake Shelton and Taylor Swift was a mentor on the show. And that's one of the things that she said to me that kind of stuck with me. It's like, you have to be believable as an artist whenever you're singing whatever song it is. And especially for something like The Voice, where you have one song a week. It's not like you're playing 10 songs, So your delivery has to be top notch and you have to be in the moment.
So you said you were gathering yourself.
Yeah.
What process or tricks do you use for yourself to gather yourself before you go on stage? Are you like counting breaths? Are you like thinking positive thoughts? Are you trying to live in a space of gratitude? Like, what are you trying to do for yourself to optimize your own mindset and then your own performance once you get on the stage?
I think I just, would think about my idols, my musical idols, and think about their performances and basically try to embody that through my performance.
So before you get on stage, you're envisioning and visualizing. We can there's a million incredible established performers who've come before. Right. Your James Browns, your Beyoncés, your Jackson Fives. Like just incredible stage presence and everything. You're thinking about that and you're trying to get in that performance, the confidence, the delivery headspace.
Yeah. And one thing that I will say, man, is after, my run on The Voice, I think I was really surprised at how people complimented my stage presence. And I had never really worked a stage that big before. So it was new for me, and especially without a guitar. Sometimes I would perform and just be there, And there was a moment, where I was like, what am I going to do with my hands? I'm usually playing, So that was fun for me, though, because it was a whole nother world. And I think just having the opportunity to be on that big stage and really get into it, it was something else.
So maybe we could break down that experience for our listeners who don't play guitar and even are maybe just pure singers, that when you have that guitar in front of you, it's almost like this wall and this shield between you and the audience. Plus, you always have the pitch reference to help you audiate with the guitar. And once you take that away and you're just singing, it's sort of a different ball game. Now, to talk about what you're doing with your hands, were there any like movement coaches or anyone who was there telling you like to do the basic sort of like, pop star dance move type things to help you just get a couple ideas of what to do while you were singing?
Yeah, later on in the show for sure, but to start, not too much. But there's they have a choreographer.
Yes,
there's a famous choreographer. I wish I could remember his name. I do not, but he's very talented, and he what I loved about him was that he's so passionate about it. So, when I went in there and I was singing, he was like all about it. He's like, dude, you're so good. Like, you got to do this. And it really helped me out. Like, that positivity and just him
Mm.
telling me, how to work the stage. And he didn't try to make me um, something that I wasn't. You know what I mean? I'm not some crazy dancer. He would just like own the stage,
Yes.
do it your way. So that was cool.
I think that's a really interesting point, maybe to discuss for people who are trying out for The Voice or American Idol or some other contest show. I think one of the things that, like you said, it's about staying yourself, because I look at you from your first performance even up to like the Let It Be performance you had, where you've got like this choir around you, you're up on this thing,
Mhm.
it's a whole production, that you are still Ricky Duran through that whole thing. And it's not that the show made you Ricky Duran. You were Ricky Duran. You go on the show and that magnifies
Mhm.
who Ricky Duran is. Does that make sense?
Of course, yeah.
So, what would your advice be for someone who's looking at going on this type of a show in terms of how much they should be focusing on their development first before trying to pursue those opportunities?
Yeah, I think that's very important actually, to be almost established at least nowadays. You got to be established on social media. You have to have. So, for instance, okay, you get on The Voice. People are gonna look you up the day you're on the show.
Mm.
So you want there to be something that you know. What do you want people to see when they go to look you up? Um, so one thing that I guess I would say, if I could do one thing differently, I guess would be have more original content
Hmm.
before I got there. Um, but then again, you never know when these opportunities come your way. But if I could make a change, I think I would focus more on original music before I got on the show, if that makes any sense.
It does. And is that also because then once you're on the show and you're sort of injected into the machine of the music industry, you then have people asking you for content. And without that library ahead of time, you're then having to, in real time, while dealing with the success of being on the show, while preparing for other opportunities,
Mhm.
which you're then significantly busy now, on top of all that, you're then having to continue to write and catalog songs, and there's almost a stress nature around that, because it's like you have so many opportunities in front of you. You're on this TV show, but if you don't have that, whatever 200 song bank at your back, that can actually be a cause for stress. Is that the reason?
Oh, for sure, for sure. When I finished or when I got off the show, um, Blake Shelton had introduced me to his producer, who was one of the top dudes at Warner in Nashville.
Mm.
And he was like, "Hey, send me," and I'm still in contact with him. He's like, "Hey, send me, some songs you're working on." And I was, like you said, I was kind of stressed about it. I was like, I
Yeah.
need to send him top notch stuff. So I wrote all these songs, and I sent him his way. He really liked it, but at the end of the day, he was like, "Hey, man, I dig your stuff, but you're not country.
Mm.
I can't sign you to a country label."
Mm.
And I respect that and I understand that. And he didn't want to change who I was. And I wouldn't want to do that either. Just to be something, just to be signed. So
So speaking of not being something to be signed, your music does defy genre labeling to a certain degree. I think,
mm,
from a global perspective, like the term soul, I think applies like pretty well, like comparing how you approach overall songs, like compared to like an Otis Redding or something like that. But you kind of are on your own. So how do you define the genre that you sit in with our like nifty music industry labels that we have?
so that's interesting, man. I think that I've just kind of been coming to terms with the fact that I don't have a genre.
Huh.
I'm a songwriter,
Mm.
and uh, whatever inspirations come my way, it's different every day. And if I get an idea, I'm going to go with that idea. And It could be, rock, it could be R&B, whatever, but I want to give it, the opportunity that it deserves
Mm.
in its own aspect. So every song I'm looking at it in a different way. And that for sure has been, I guess, troubling for me as far as signing to a label, because if you look, they're businessmen, you know what I
Yes.
mean? So they want to, they know how to market one thing,
Mm-hmm.
basically, like, oh, we got a country dude, we got a rock guy. And when you come at them with like all these different songs, they're like, uh, you're really talented, but like, I don't know what to do with you. So that's where I'm at.
So the songs that you've been putting out, are you putting those out independently at the moment?
Sorry.
The songs you're putting out now, are you doing those independently at the moment, or are you partnering with a record label like just to do the singles?
I'm putting them out by myself right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Slow clap for Ricky Duran, everyone.
It's funny, man. I'm working with someone I went to college with, Tim McLean. He's been producing my stuff, and we were buddies growing up. And now he's working with John Legend.
Oh, cool.
He's actually, he's his main engineer at his home studio.
Oh, wow. That's wild.
I know, yeah, and it's just wild. So, uh, he's a very talented guy. So,
That's huge. I think it's also huge to unpack the fact that you're doing this by yourself, which I think works for a singles market, right? Because right now it's like you release an album, people almost don't know what to do with that. In fact, Spotify
yeah.
algorithms almost don't know what to do with that. Everything's set up to release singles.
Mm,
I think it's super fascinating that you're going one single at a time. So without a record label, you don't have anyone telling you what to do. You don't have anyone deciding your release schedule. It all comes down to you,
right.
which is huge.
It's
Wow.
it is huge, and it's, to be honest with you, I would like to give that responsibility to someone else. I'm happy to, listen. I'm a singer. I'm a songwriter. I'm a musician.
Yeah.
I would like to leave it at that. Have someone take over the business side. I haven't found the right person yet. I'm dealing. I've been manager to manager right now. That's one of the things that I will say. When we were talking about advice to people
Mm.
that might be going on a show like this, and surrounding yourself with the right team.
Mm.
You know, and I'm still trying to figure it out. I think that a lot of artists, maybe their entire life, are trying to figure that out. But it's really important because, um, at the end of the day, it's you. You're the musician, but you need a team behind you to not only push you, but like, I guess, motivate you every day.
Mm.
You know.
So, any labels or managers listening to this podcast, I'm just going to say, I hear Ricky Duran is looking for representation, and I also hear Ricky Duran is looking for a label that's going to let him do him and support him doing him. And I'm sure someone out there is the right person for it, and I think everyone is a fool not to work with Ricky Duran, and I'm going to go ahead and stand behind that because, ladies and gentlemen, have you heard the man sing? Have you heard the man play? And have you heard the songs that the man writes? So, yeah, we're going to leave that one there. Ricky, what's been going on for you since The Voice? How's everything been treating you? How's gigging been? Obviously with COVID, not so much gigging. But what's changed for you?
It's been a roller coaster, man. So a lot changed for me after The Voice, and what's so amazing is that, to this day, I'll be at the airport and someone will be like, "Hey, you're Ricky Duran, right?"
Oh,
And that's such a good feeling. You know what I mean? And especially being that, it was 2 years ago at this point. So that tells me that I'm doing something right. Um, but I've been writing a bunch. I've been releasing singles. I have a new song coming out in September, "Waiting on You," and so my dad, he passed away. He died by suicide, actually. And
oh gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that.
thank you. But this song, it's interesting, is I wrote it years ago. and I didn't really think I would ever release it because it was so personal and a song that I was like, I don't know if people understand this, you know. And I wrote the lyrics as if my dad was talking to me, so it's like from his perspective, and it was a way of me like coping with what happened because he never really talked to me about that. So I teamed up with the AFSP, the American Foundation of Suicide Prevention, for this release, and they're promoting it and using it as kind of their anthem this year. Which I think that I told them that's the only way that this song can come out. With that behind it. So I'm really excited about that.
That's such an incredible way to react to that happening to you, Ricky. And again, my empathy to you
Thank you, man.
for your experience there. And I just think it's really, really incredible that you've taken your pain and your loss and turned it into something really positive for other people and also for yourself. That's absolutely incredible. Is there anything else you'd like to share about that release for our listeners? If not, that's fine. We'll move on.
Yeah, actually. So the song is coming out September 17th.
Yes.
The video right now is set to release on the 20th. So I went back home to Massachusetts and recorded the video. And the AFSP, like I said, they teamed up with me. So they sent me names of people who've gone through it and would want to appear in the video. So there's a portion of the video that I think is the most powerful part of the video, where it's them holding up a sign that says like a brother, a mother, a father, and then it ends with me holding up a sign for my dad, So look for that. I think it's going to be a movement. I think it's definitely the most powerful thing that I've made thus far,
Wow.
So,
An incredible use of your platform, Ricky.
hey,
Really. Well, let's all take a second and just sit with that for a moment, and we'll come back and
that was a lot. Huh?
Wow, that was a lot. Ricky, I got some questions for you around performance and practice and lifestyle to change gears a little bit. So, what's the number of hours of sleep that when you get below it, you feel an impact on your creativity and performance? So like for me, if I get 5 hours, that's it, I'm done. Like I will not play the same. I will not sing the same. What for you is that magic number of sleep hours?
I got to be real, man. I need sleep. 8 hours.
Nice. Solid.
It was my birthday yesterday, so
Hey, happy birthday to Ricky.
for instance, right now I'm going on maybe like 3 hours. So
oh, Ricky Duran, the trooper. Thank you for hanging with us on the Best Music Podcast today.
But as far as singing and performing, I like to say you have to protect your energy. You know what I mean? And man, 8 hours is the magic number for me.
Ricky, have you ever tried mindfulness or meditation to impact creativity and performance?
You know what? Not like as a practice, but I think that I just naturally kind of do that.
Like
For
on
instance,
stage?
when you asked me what I do before a performance, I get in my own space. I don't like to be around people or even friends. I just want to take my time and gather the energy before I go on stage. So I think that's a form of meditation.
I would agree with you.
Yeah.
Do you find that exercise impacts your creativity and performance?
Yeah, I think so. I've always been I always been working out for a long time, and I actually am a black belt in Kenryu Kempo karate.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it's always been the physical aspect has always been there, and I think that it's kind of like mind, body, soul. wherever you can excel will show in your creativity.
Ricky, do you define yourself as a musician, a human who plays music, or something else? Like, how do you view yourself?
That's a really good question, man. I don't know. um,
Still working on it is
so,
also
well,
a
it's interesting. I think, I am a musician, but
mm,
I think at the end of the day, I want to be more than that. I want to be an artist, and I think an artist encompasses every aspect of your life.
mm.
You know what I mean? So I want to be more than just a musician, and I think that I am.
How do you define success in your career?
You hit me with the hard questions, man.
I save them for the end.
um, you know, for real, success is
Yeah.
different in everyone's eyes. But
Yes.
for me, success is happiness with what I do.
Mm.
Uh, and I could be out here singing songs that I don't care about just to make some money, but
Mm-hmm.
that's not what I'm doing. Uh, I want to make timeless music, and I want to be an inspiration to people, and that's success to me.
I'm going to spare the listeners another slow clap. Just everyone understand that I just did another slow clap just there. It's an imagined slow clap. Let's talk a little bit about practice. And I think we can segment the practice into both like guitar and voice because they both need upkeep and they both need, some time.
Mhm.
So do you have a time or times of day when you prefer to practice?
No, growing up, I used to. So I went to Berklee College of Music.
Hey, no
Uh,
way.
yeah, yeah, I
We love
graduated.
Berklee College of Music around here. Shout out to Jason Camilio and Ray Soul at Berklee Global.
You know Jason?
Dude, Jason was a guest on this podcast.
No way.
Yes, way. So
No,
was Ray Soul.
he's literally my go-to contact at Berklee. He's a good
Listen,
dude.
Jason Camilio, in terms of human beings who are awesome,
Oh,
has got to be in the top
I
10 of
know.
1%.
Yeah, when I was on The Voice, he was messaging me like, "Hey man, I'm so proud of you. Like, we just
Oh,
saw you perform Born Under a Bad Sign, playing blues on. It was fun. Um, but yeah, man, he's a great dude.
okay. So, time or times a day that you'd like to practice, you went to Berklee.
So yeah, like I was saying, so I think that I regimented my time more when I was younger,
Mm,
as far as practicing,
mm,
and I think that it's interesting because in high school, I would come home. I would look forward to coming home and sitting in my room and learning, by ear, all these guitar solos verbatim. You know what I
mm,
mean? And I don't do that anymore. Now it's
mm,
more about the creative aspect.
mm,
So I think I've, not to say that I don't have anything else to learn, but I'm more about working with what I have now. So practice for me right now is, I'll do vocal exercises, and occasionally I'll, you know, go over some Stevie Ray Vaughan solos or whatever. But it's more about creating new music.
hmm. So, and I think this is a really interesting psychological thing to talk about too, because I think for a lot of us, we get into music with an idea of what we're going to become. Like, I always wanted to basically be Alan Holdsworth. Like, and if I wasn't going to be Alan Holdsworth, like, that's it. And for anyone who doesn't know who Alan Holdsworth is, he's like the guitar player that all guitar players look at and go, what is happening right now? Because this guy is just so on a different level.
Mhm.
And I mean, it became very clear to me after about 10 years of doing music that I was not going to be Alan Holdsworth. My talents lay elsewhere. And like what I'm good at is not this sort of like inventing my own scales without knowing music theory. And like, anyway, listen, I could nerd out on Alan Holdsworth all day. But I think the point is that in everyone's journey, there comes a time where you sort of realize this is my skill set. This is what comes easy. This is what I have to work with. So I think for our listeners, just to understand that for you, you've developed your tools. And now that you have your tools in hand, you are now trying to find creative and different and applicable ways of using the tools as opposed to going and getting more tools. And there's
Right.
no right or wrong answer here. It's just that's the creative
Mhm.
choice at this point in time. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's very good way of putting it. And I will say, like, there's some songwriters that are brilliant and they write songs with three chords, and it's
Mm.
very simple. And that's one thing that I'm kind of fascinated with. It's like it's about how you use the tools. It's not necessarily. I don't want to be some technical, crazy guitar player. I don't want to put my energy towards that. I'd rather make something that people connect with.
Mm. I think David Guetta said, and I'll translate it from the French that he said it in. He said something along the lines of, it's really hard to do simple things really well.
Mhm.
And like that in and of itself is it's a lifetime of learning. Like right there, like to write a really good song with three chords, like, whoa.
Yeah, I mean,
Because
just
it's
look at
got to
the
be good.
just look at the Beatles. I mean, but it's interesting because people are like, oh, they're not very skilled, but they're very skilled. If you actually take the time to learn their music, the chord, I don't, the progressions that they have are just like mind blowing to me. It's and the melodies. It's like it's really incredible. So for me, I rather write something, a brilliant song with three chords, as opposed to, playing some elaborate guitar solo.
So to sort of summarize the answer, right now practice for you is more maintenance than it is breaking new ground. And it's deep, and in addition to maintenance, I don't think maintenance is the only word, because there's also a deepening of understanding
Mhm.
of the tools that happens when you pick certain silos that you're going to practice in.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty accurate. It's maintenance and it's growth creatively. You know,
Mm.
it's about finding yourself as an artist. That's where I'm at.
So when you are taking the time to sort of do your maintenance, are you doing that every day? Like, do you have a time set aside every day? Or is it that when you feel like it's been like a day or two, you need to get back to it, that you go back to it?
It's really whenever the inspiration hits me, man.
Hmm.
I try to practice every day, or just pick up the guitar and
Mm.
whether it's writing or just playing in general. But yeah, it's more of a. I try to do it daily.
Mm.
Try to do daily. Um, if I go 3 days without playing, I lose my mind. So
Hmm.
it's like it's necessary for me.
So when you practice the most in your life, like when you were at Berkeley, how many hours a day were you shedding?
Honestly, probably like 5 hours a day. It was a lot.
Mm.
They have practice rooms down at Berkeley, and they're like soundproof. So I would literally just lock myself in this room, and it's so funny. My friends would come visit me and be like, "Dude, this is crazy. What are you doing?" Because it's such a different world. You know what I mean?
Yes, it is.
But like, wait, you go downstairs and like shut yourself in a room and play music for hours? It's like, yeah. But yeah, that was life, man.
So, Ricky, you have 2 billion with a B. You have $2 billion in a bank account. Are you still going to practice?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah?
This is not about money for me, man.
Mm.
It's never been about money for me, and I know people say that all the time, but I actually mean it. It I don't know. I think that I can say that because I've gone through things in my life where I realize that it's not about money. This
Mm.
like when you leave Earth, you
Mm.
can't take your money with you. You can't take anything but your soul. You know what I mean?
Mm.
So sorry if that's a little corny, but
It is not, sir. You carry on. You keep going.
yeah, it's about it's just about creating, not creating, man. It's just about being yourself and finding yourself in this life. I think. So yeah, if I had 2 billion in the bank account, I might record a little more, but I'd still be writing.
Then you could have your home studio with
Exactly.
with an
Yeah,
engineer who
exactly.
comes by. Uh, Ricky, do you ever take steps to stay creative?
Yeah, I think I do every day. You know, I don't know what steps you exactly mean, but um, I try to keep myself in that mindset of uh, creating good material. You know,
Well, do you do things like, do you have your phone on silent during parts of the day? Like, do you turn your phone off or put it in another
my phone
room
is
when you go to
always on silent.
practice or to write? Like, are there ways that you protect your creative mindset and your creative flow?
Yeah, my phone's always on silent. Actually, people get mad at me because I don't respond to them a lot, and I think it's a huge distraction. You know, and to be honest with you, so I didn't have an iPhone until I was 22. So I went through college with like a flip phone, like, and honestly, it's weird because nowadays you need it to interact with your fans as far as social media and stuff. But it is a huge distraction, and I try to like be good about that's that, but it's a separate thing than real life. You know,
Do you have a time or times of day where you feel more creative?
feel more what?
Creative.
Yeah, I think late at night. Actually, I, I think I remember reading like studies about. Uh, I don't know. It's like late at night for some reason. I always come up with my songs or ideas
Hmm.
when I'm like kind of lying in bed, and I kind of have to push myself to get up and be like, I should go, check this idea out. But yeah, it's always late night for me.
Have you ever experienced burnout from too much time specifically spent on music?
Hmm. Yeah. Well, in a way, I guess. A
Okay.
lot of times when you get into a studio, for instance, you might hammer this song for days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's so funny because once you've finally done it, once you're like, okay, this song, I killed it. It's good. You're sick of it, and then you have to promote it.
And then you
You
got to
have to be
perform
like,
it.
hey, this song is
Yes.
really good. Check it out. And you're like, dude, I'm done with this song. So, and that's with everything I've ever, you know, put out there. Pretty much, I'm a perfectionist, so I spend a lot of time on songs before I release them.
That is pretty universal for any listeners who are not familiar with that concept. That's fairly universal for any artist who works in music and spends hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and days
Yeah,
building songs. By the time you're done recording the thing, you just like, can we just like eat pasta or something? Like, can we just do something else, please?
and that's why you need your team. Like I said earlier,
Yes.
because they'll be like, hey, look, this is still good, and you're like, I'm on to the next. Like this is over.
Having that publicity team, etc. Shout out to, by the way, quick shout out to Core PR for setting this interview up. Thank you to
Yeah.
Anna and the team over there. Okay, so how do you experience inspiration, Ricky? You talk about, at night you get that comes to you. What does inspiration feel like to you? Like, do you feel like a download? Do you experience it as an idea? How do you define inspiration for yourself?
Uh, Man, inspiration comes to me in different ways. I think inspiration just living. To be honest with you, you know, uh, I get inspiration from everyday stuff. Uh, just life lessons.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I don't see it as a download, as more of a way of living.
Huh. A lifestyle, creativity
Yeah,
lifestyle,
yeah,
swimming in the ocean of creativity.
right, right, right.
Yeah. Interesting. So, when you write, have you noticed any trends of like chords, melody, lyrics coming first? When you get an idea, is there a theme or a trend in terms of what's coming to you first?
Not really, but
Mm.
whenever I think my best ideas, my best songs, always come to me in in the form of a melody, and
Mm.
if I'm lucky enough, some of them just the lyrics come too, which is the most interesting thing to me, because it's so weird to have nothing and all of a sudden have a song with lyrics. Like, I don't really know. I didn't have to think too hard. It just kind of came to me. Um, and for instance, I released a song last December called "She Closed Her Eyes," and you know, I I don't know. I picked up the guitar and this song was just there. Like, I
Hmm.
kid you not, the lyrics just came out as soon as I picked it up, and I just sang it, and it was magic, man. And I strive for those moments. You know what I mean? Those are the best creative moments for me, when you don't have to put too much effort in; it just comes to you. You know?
Do you prefer to write after listening to other music, or do you prefer to write from a clean slate where you sort of push other music away?
Um, that's interesting. So my girlfriend listens to a lot of country music, and I'm always like, hey, I can't do country right now because I don't want to be influenced in this direction. So, there's like a part of me that likes to listen to music to get inspiration or ideas. But, you know, I think creating music is, I prefer to be untouched. You know what I mean? I
Mm,
would prefer to, just do it on my own, if that makes any sense.
it does 100%. This is my last question for you, Ricky. My last question for you is, can you talk a little bit about you said you have experienced nerves before the show, like the voice. Can you talk a little bit about performance anxiety, how it feels for you and how you overcome it or how you deal with it?
I think that I thrive in that moment.
Mm,
You know what I mean? I basically use the the anxiety or that energy that I have to make my performance better, and
mm-hmm.
just concentrate that energy.
Mm-hmm.
So, when it was crazy for the voice, when you're on live television and you get that countdown in your ear monitor, right? Three, two, one, bam. And now you're going. Uh, that's what I live for, man. I don't know if I can speak for everybody, but I want to get back to that. That's like where I thrive, you know?
That's really fascinating, Ricky. So, within that context of the performance anxiety and the nerves, are you then changing the way you're thinking about the nerves, as opposed to thinking about it as, "Oh, I'm scared"?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You turn it into, "Oh, I'm excited and I'm ready to rumble."
Yeah, I never get in my head about being scared.
Right.
I just, it's more of, this is happening. This is the
Mm,
moment right here. Gather whatever you need to do. But uh, I don't think about messing up. If
mm,
that's, I think about, how I want this performance to go.
mm.
And whatever I was doing worked on the voice, because the performances, I look back and I'm like, wow, that's actually, and I'm not the kind of person that would do that, to look back at my work and be like, that was really good. But um, I don't know. I'm proud of the stuff I did uh,
Yeah.
on the voice. Yeah.
Yeah, you did good, dude. Like,
Thanks, man.
for real. Like, music, real talk, musician to musician, like, you did a good
thank,
job,
thank
bro.
you so
Like,
much, brother.
for real.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. 100%. Do you mind if I ask you one more question?
Go for it.
So you were saying with the in-ear monitors getting the countdown 3, 2, 1, I would love to understand, and I think the listeners would also really be interested to understand what you hear before you start singing a song. And then once you start singing the song, are you hearing a click? Are you just hearing the band? Do you get a starting note? Are you having to memorize and audiate your starting note before you sing? What information are you getting before you go live?
So I think you could probably request different things to cater to you, but for
Okay.
me, it was just a countdown. Three, two, one, song starts. And before I would go out there, I would have the song in mind.
Mm,
So I would have the key, you know, ready to go.
yes.
Um, I don't hear a click. I don't really like having a click, but the drummer definitely has a click in his ear monitor. You know what I mean? But for me, I think it kind of takes away from the performance. If were to have a click, I just think
Mm.
it makes it more plastic for me. You know? as far as being the lead singer.
Yes, you want to be able to float more and let the band take care of the time.
Right, right, right. But I mean, one thing I will say, man, those artists or musicians on The Voice are killer, and they go from song to song, different genre every day, and they crush it every time. It's really amazing.
So, using the Let It Be performance that you did as an example, you hear 3, 2, 1. Now, for listeners to understand, when you said you have the key together, it means you have essentially memorized your starting pitch and you're able to audiate. So, imagine the starting pitch that you're going to start singing in your head. So, well, you have an intro on that song. So, I take that back. But you understand what I'm saying, that you have the starting pitch memorized and you can hear it. You're imagining the starting pitch in your head and then you go ahead and sing it.
Right. Yeah.
So with Let It Be, if I'm remembering correctly, you also started with the band. So was there a count-in that you heard for Let It Be, or you started and then everyone just jumped in with you?
So Let It Be was probably my favorite performance on the show, and
Hey, all right.
but I started it just solo on the piano. So that's what was so amazing to me. Like they just put me out on the stage, and I was just like, I just started. So I kind of went on my own accord. So the first verse, basically, and chorus was free form, and I just played whatever I felt. But then right after that, there was a challenging thing. So
Yes, it
after
was
the
like a
chorus,
tempo change.
yeah, yeah. After the chorus, I heard like literally like cha cha cha, and then
Yeah.
like 3 clicks, and I was off, and I had to like grab the mic off there, leave the
Yeah.
piano, and start walking. And that was a whole thing. You know, the choreographer was like big on that, and I don't know. It was a challenging performance, and that's why I loved it so much.
Yeah, radical. You stood up from the piano, you had your guitar slung across your back, Johnny Cash style.
Yeah, yeah.
And then yeah, just walking down singing the thing in a new tempo.
You know what's funny, man? I think I'm probably like maybe the second person on The Voice to play guitar and sing.
Really?
No, guitar, piano, and sing
Ah,
in
yes.
performance.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that was fun, man.
Amazing. Well, Ricky, those are all my questions. Do you have anything you think we should talk about? Shall we call it a day?
Um, I mean, I guess I'm good, man. Unless you
Let's
have more.
call it a day. He's got 3 hours of sleep, people. We need to send him back to bed. Ricky Duran, his new single Star is out now everywhere you get your music, and his new single, Waiting on You, is dropping September 17th. The video is dropping September 20th, and the video supports
The AFSP, American Foundation of Suicide Prevention.
AFSB. And you can check Ricky out everywhere at Ricky Duran. Ricky, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me. Great questions. You're awesome. Appreciate it.